All right. Well, this is the Cloud Foundry TOC meeting for May 9th. And let's see, we've got usual business of reviewing actions and recent PRs. And we've also, looks like, got Marcela here to provide an update from the Services Management Working Group. So I don't think we had any outstanding action items from last week to review. So Marcela, if you're ready, why don't you go ahead and kick us off? Let us know how things are going.
Okay. Hi, everyone. So we had a few things going on since the last update, although the group is quite stable. We, on the cloud service broker side, we have made a few releases. We are working on adding new services to this cloud service broker in AWS, particularly in the AWS broker. So we have delivered Elastic Cache and a DynamoDB offering, and started work now on MS SQL. And the other thing that we are starting to work on is in improving the upgrade experience. The upgrade of the broker involves also upgrading service instances in some scenarios, and the team implemented like a year ago a CF plugin to perform the upgrade service instances that is reusable for every broker, not just ours. Every broker that manages upgrades of service instances or plans through the maintenance info, right? Like the OSBAPI way is not magic either. And what we will be aiming to do is mainly improving the output to provide more information. So we have to add that to our roadmap. We have some, we have our roadmap updated, but maybe not all the details yet. So to provide more information of the instances pending upgrade or failed to upgrade as well, because you can do a dry run and see what instances are pending upgrade, but at the moment you mainly see the GUID. And then if you are being sent a report of the instances, it's not much useful. So provide more insight on what's going on there. The team has been forced to slow the pace because we are half the capacity now. We have landed, the team is all VMware, and we had to lend some of our team members away for a bit. And we are also open for contributions. We've been working in the past months to create tutorials, and I think I already mentioned this last update, and really try to help people to contribute. And we've started to see a few contributions, so that's good. We need to work harder to get more. It's really a project that you can, like, anyone can implement their own broker for their own. So the core broker is there, and everyone can implement a broker pack to extend it, creating service instances and bindings to the service or the cloud that they like. Is quite easy to do. From the moment, what we get is mostly additions to the ones that we already have, but you can contribute either additions to that, so a new property being exposed to be managed by the broker, or a new service, or just a completely new broker pack. Because we at the moment have AWS, GCP, and Azure. We could have even other functionality for those as a separate broker pack, or I don't know, another cloud even. That's also possible. From volume services is mostly updating dependencies. There's been work on improving the auto-bump of dependencies a bit more, and improving security, especially when logging information. There was an issue reported with CF Linux not being picked up as default in the latest versions of the CF deployment, where it should be default, and it was still using CF Linux 3. There's a PR for that already, so hopefully we've seen that merged soon. For Service Fabric, they have completed the timing migration for the broker. And there was a new interoperator release with some dependency updates. It now supports Kubernetes 125, custom namespace labels, login parameters being configurable, and other features that can be checked at the release notes as well. For the OSBAPI API, I'm looking into resume cadence of the meetings and the updates because the only active approver was on leave for a few months. So I haven't had much there. There's not much interaction in the community either. The meeting of the working group, the cadence has been changed to monthly instead of bi-weekly as it was before. So we have 2 monthly meetings at the beginning of the month, one that is EU and India friendly, and the other one that is US friendly. And apart from me making a mistake when advertising the times, making confusing time zones and making it more difficult for people to join, we haven't really picked up cadence since the end of the year break. So hopefully we'll put more effort in advertising it and see if I can drag people into it. And last thing to mention, I think, is that I might have missed some updates because the project board was broken, the sync was not working, and I hadn't realized. Because I work in the CSV, so that is the more active in the sense of features. I didn't realize because I was not checking it for that. And the others is always mostly dependency updates. So didn't realize, I just fixed that. Hopefully we'll get more from there now. And I also, I don't know, when looking at it, I also realized that the community project is having errors when syncing. So you might want to revise that, or I can help revising that.
Almost fixed.
Okay, thanks.
Oh, thanks, Ruben.
I'm doing it as we speak.
Yeah, and that's all. I don't know if there's any questions from you all. It's a happy update.
I don't think I have any questions. Any questions from anyone else? Apart from fixing our own sync to from the community repo to its project board, is there anything we can help you with?
Not really. Just maybe if there's something different that you would like to see in these updates from my side. No? Okay. So that's all.
Thank you. Well, that's great. We appreciate it.
Thanks.
All right. Well, why don't we move on to any outstanding PRs? I'd noted a couple that look like they are pertinent to the TOC in the last week or so. Does anyone notice anything else? We can, of course, start with these. Let's see. I think this came in right after our meeting last week, but we've got a PR to archive some unused build pack repos. I think some of us have signed off on this already. In fact, looks like we've got a quorum here. Great. We'll go ahead and merge.
Yep.
All right, and then the only other one is 595. Drop that in. Crystal, looks like that's from you, just propagating some charter changes into our copy
Right. So just for context, at the last governing board meeting, we approved a few revisions to the CFF charter. Top level, what this does essentially is it eliminates the gold level membership tier of the Cloud Foundry Foundation. It adds a seat on the governing board that is a silver member representative. So once this is, well, it has been approved. So in the next couple of weeks, I'll kick off a nomination process that will allow silver member Cloud Foundry Foundation companies to nominate someone to serve as a silver member representative on the board. And then the last thing it does is it adjusts the language surrounding the TOC chair seat on the governing board. So whoever is the TOC chair, currently Andy Hunt, has a seat on the governing board. And right now that's a voting role. What this does is it changes that so that if the employing company of the TOC chair already has a voting seat on the governing board, that seat becomes a observer role only. So basically this allows for, if there are already seats on the governing board from SAP and VMware. So if the TOC chair coming up in the next month or so is a employee of SAP and VMware, they can serve in that role, but that will be an observer role and they will not have a vote on the CFF governing board. So those are the pertinent changes there. And yeah, I mean, this is I want you all to be aware of this, but since it is the CFF governing board approved, you don't actually have veto rights over this anyway. So
yeah, I'll just go ahead and merge it so that we're up to date. Awesome. Thanks for the explanation, Chris. That makes sense.
Sure.
All right. Well, I think that's it for open PRs that we would need to review. Unless last call for anyone spotting anything else. All right. And oh, go ahead, Beyhan. Yeah.
There are a lot of discussions around the CNP support in CF, but I don't know whether we can do something in the Tuesday meeting.
Right, that's a good point. I'll drop that on the list. I mean, it looks like, yeah, there's a lot of detailed discussion, but I don't think it's settled down yet.
Yeah.
I know I haven't been tracking every point of discussion on there. Is there anything yet that seems particularly relevant for us to be thinking about across the community? All right, maybe we don't have a good summary yet. We can wait for some of these things to wrap up or at least settle down and then try and get some resolution on them.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it's close yet.
Yeah.
Oh, there are 2-3 open questions still, at least. Yeah.
All right, well, in that case, why don't we move on to any other business? Chris, see you added a topic for upcoming elections.
Yeah, it's that time again. Looking back at the 2022 elections in community repo, looks like we announced those elections on May 18th, and the results were announced on June 22nd. So that's sort of the timeline that it doesn't have to be, exact to the day or even necessarily the week, but it should be approximately those times this year as well. So that's coming right up. I would say what we need to do is, I can draft up a PR to add the election into the community repo. So that's there. And then I guess, Eric, you have time to sync maybe later this week for 30 minutes to take a look at the Electo app and make sure things are looking good there. Should be we've done this before. So I think the administration of the TOC elections should be fairly trivial. We've done this. It ran smoothly last time. The one thing will be somewhat interesting this year is we also need to run a Paketo TSC election at the same time. So that'll be a second election that runs at the same time. And I'll need to connect with the folks at on the Keto team this week to make sure that we're all on the same page on that. But I've been in communication with them, but we just need to make sure that gets set up as well. So yeah, I think we should, have, that PR probably approved by next TOC meeting, and then we'll have a date to announce it and get all that stuff rolling. So I guess I'll take an action item to draft up a PR on that and get that in this week. And then Eric, you and I can sync to make sure that the Electro app is functioning as expected.
Excellent. That sounds great, Chris.
Oh, yeah, from how CF uses CF to run elections. Yeah, I think that's a decent idea.
Great. And then are there any updates on the community day or the Cloud Foundry day in next month?
We should have an initial, I believe notifications are going out today to speakers, and it's scheduled to have an initial schedule published tomorrow. Might be tomorrow, might be the next day. So we'll have an initial schedule this week, and speakers should be getting notifications today. So there'll be lots more to talk about, I think, at the next TOC call, because we'll have a schedule and we can start promoting that. And we got markedly more submissions than we did last year for CF Day. It was a more competitive process for sure. So there's a lot of really good waitlisted talks, but that's not a bad thing. So yeah.
Will waitlisted talks also be notified?
I would imagine so.
All right. Is there any other business we want to bring up before we conclude? Well, if not, in that case, I think that's a wrap for today. Thanks everyone for attending today's TOC meeting, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
See you. Bye.
Yeah, bye bye.